Hi, this is Gregory Giannakoulis. Today's topic is to talk to you about raising funds for nonprofits called NGOs. Sometimes they're missions, sometimes they're just a special cause that you're raising funds for. And what donors need to, donors are busy, but they also are very suspicious. I should say they're careful. They want to be careful because there's so many things going on. Man, we used to get, I think we donated a few times, some large donations, and we started getting, I can't even tell you, like this much mail. And so you never know which is really legitimate. And so you have to purport yourself to be very legitimate. And the way you do that is you share your backstory. There's a bunch of things I'll cover. But first of all, share your backstory. I mean, everybody likes to think that they would want to get involved in helping poor children. Nobody's going to vote against that. Or a well project to give clean water to people that are living along the drinking muddy water out of the river. I know some of those families personally. So you want to give your backstory about what's going on. Where did you come from? Where did you get the idea to get participating in this? What is your why? What is the purpose of your organization? People like to know the personal motivation that got you involved in this particular enterprise, this particular mission, this nonprofit. And if you're the nonprofit telling the story, if you're larger, then maybe it's not a personal thing. Maybe you've been around for a long time. You want to tell that story. We've been around since 90 years. Or you want to say we only started 6 months ago. Our family found out this, or our school found out that. And you want to tell your backstory and then narrow it down about why you thought it was important that you should get involved in it. And then you want to share stories of success. We got involved in it, and we've been doing this for a few years. And these are success stories we have. We installed this well in this village. We're putting piping in this village. We got rid of malaria in this village. And so on. So you want to share the stories of success. And that's going to take video, and it's going to take pictures. So maybe it's a well, or maybe it's a girls' school project. That's very, very popular in the last number of years, focusing in on the disadvantages that girls face, that they don't get the educational opportunities. Or maybe it's just helping street kids or orphanages. That's very popular in Central America. So you want to then go into explaining what the problem is. How did it occur? What happened? What's the extent of the problem? For example, 20,000 children are stuck in orphanages, or there's 13,000 street children living on the streets. Whatever the issue is, you want to explain it very well and clear and give some data so people can get the idea of the size of the problem. And usually if it's a problem you're trying to solve, it's a pretty big problem. Then you want to explain what kind of help is needed. Once you explain the problem, what kind of help is needed to fix the problem? You want to explain that. These are the 3 things that would really be helpful, and this would address the needs of this disadvantaged group, or to help this problem. And then you want to say how you are helping. So you have the problem, and then you have these things are required, and then our organization is doing this 1, 2, or 3 things. Don't say that you're doing, my opinion is, when you say you do a lot of things, you have 16 different initiatives because you solve 17 problems, then people aren't going to think you're very dedicated to any one of them. Now, it's not to say that you might start a school after you had an orphanage, or after you did a well, you might want to put in some roads or build a school for disadvantaged children. So that's, there is times when you can have a tangential, you can get a little bit off the track, but my advice is, especially if you're smaller, don't get into something that has 16 different, you can't get anybody's focus, you can't get their attention then they feel that their help that they're giving you is going to be watered down. And then you want to show not only how you help, now you want to show how the donor can get involved and how the donor can participate in solving this problem. For example, they want to maybe you're going to develop a well, a pumping station. Well, then they can contribute towards that. Or maybe you're building a school, etc. The different projects that you're involved in, whatever project you're involved in, I should say. Now, it's proven that people will donate more towards specifics than they will just in general. So if you say, we've been around for 4 years, we do wells in El Salvador, and we're pretty successful, here's some photos, send us money. Well, that doesn't really tug at anybody's heartstrings, and let's face it, people buy because of the emotion that it gives them, the fulfillment that it gives them. They buy a lot based on feelings. That doesn't mean you manipulate, it just means be aware that people buy, in this case they're going to donate, when they can feel good about what they're donating to. But if you said, we're buying a diesel pump because there's no electricity in this area, and we're going to need a 500-gallon fuel tank, and we're going to need this generator and pump, or maybe it's a diesel-fueled pump, actually. We got one installed. Actually, I raised the money to, very nice people helped us so much. We raised the money to buy the pump. And then I couldn't get permission to install the pump because the mayor of the local town said, oh, it's very good that you and your wife have this mission. You know, my wife has a mission, and she's looking, it would be very nice if you could donate $30,000 to her mission. So I thought, well, that's about $3,000. If I have to pay a bribe, I'll do that. But he wasn't talking about local currency. He was actually wanted $30,000 to his wife. So I didn't do that. He didn't give us permission. And time went by. The mayor changed, and the new mayor came along. It was much easier to work with. Then a big diesel engine was installed to drive the pump. But then the people had no way of getting diesel fuel up to the rural villages. These are the things that start the cascade. And so they had to take pickup trucks with 5-gallon buckets and bring 5 gallons of fuel back at a time. And when they ran out of fuel, then you didn't have water for a while. That all eventually got fixed, and now there's great water pressure and lots of water there. But people will donate when you specify what you're doing. We need $9,000 for this pump. People will say, okay, I'll participate in that. And then your fundraising software should show how close you're getting to it. And get the people excited about what you're raising money for. When you raise the money for the pump, then you can raise the money for a mile of piping, let's say. So do things in tidbits, in bite-sized chunks, so that people can feel like they are making a difference. For example, if you said, I need $9 million to install a water system for the whole country of Sudan, I'm sure that's not going to be enough, but I would feel like my $100 isn't going to really do anything. I would feel kind of lost in that. So you want to be careful, too, when you're raising money, that you don't throw everything up at front, and then they feel insignificant. So you want to make the donor has to feel like they're significantly participating. Don't ask for money the first time. When you're contacting people, or hopefully they're contacting you, and you may have to run ads for this, but on your website, your Facebook page, whether you're doing it through Instagram, that's a great way to get your message out because it's very visual, of course, and what you're doing, you want to promote a lot of videos, and you want to promote a lot of photos. So don't ask for money right up front. Get their email address by offering them something. Maybe it's a calendar. Maybe it's something they can print off. You know, the thing now, we're all trying to do things online, but sometimes you almost want to have something you can hold in your hand. So depending where you're raising money from, if it's a place that has good mail service, you might want to just bite the bullet and send them a poster. Posters are very inexpensive. In bulk, they're about 30 cents a piece. They get printed, 11 by 17. And you can send everybody a poster for for about $1.50, including postage and everything like that. And so you want to give to get. And this is reciprocity. People will feel much more inclined to donate to you, to participate in you, to go further in the relationship with you once you've given them something first. Remember, in North America anyway, it was very popular that I think it was around Easter, I think it was the Easter Seal Society. They raised money for cancer, and they would send you unsolicited this beautiful pack of about 100 return address stickers. Of course, they knew your name, they're sending to you. They knew your address, they were sending to you. So they made these beautiful little, they're so nice. And they'd say, if you enjoyed our stickers, would you please donate? And you almost felt obligated to at least send, $10 or something. And so that worked very, very well for them. And even if you didn't donate, they'd send them to you the next year anyway. So obviously it worked out really well. But that was the rule of reciprocity. They gave me something. I felt that was really nice. I really should give them something. And that's how you want to start off a relationship, a good relationship. Now, the other thing I said is don't ask for money is so many people think that they're asking for money for themselves or they're begging for money for themselves. So your message should not be, as a nonprofit, your message should not be, send me money, I'm doing these great things. Send us money, we're going to go do these great things. That doesn't create a relationship between the donor and the end result. So what you want to do is, would you please consider sending $100 to sponsor a child to go to school this year? Would you consider sending $50? Or please consider sending $50 to be part of our building this XYZ school that we're building that's going to house 80 children just like this girl right here. Then you have some photos of children. And maybe you'll even do an interview with a mother that says, and this is a true story, I really wanted to send my children to school, but I've got 6 children. I can only afford to send 2. So every other year I send the other child. And then you can explain to your donors, wouldn't it be nice to see all these kids go to school? See, that's getting the donor involved. And the donor's starting to say, yeah, for $100, I can send someone to school. That's great. I can't do that at home, but I can do it in this other country. And then sometimes you'll turn them into, I mentioned in business tips, to have a recurring revenue. And you can do that. Software now is so easy. to have it set up so they charges them $25 a month. Would you consider sponsoring a child? Or please sponsor Martha's 2 brothers. Here's Tony and Eric. They want to go to school too, but their mother says she can't afford them and she works in the field all day with a baby on her back. Listen, this is not manipulating people. This is if it's true, and only if it's true. Listen, number one, it has to be ethical. But if it's true, if you really know this family, the baby's on the back, they have 6 kids, they live in a shack. We know dozens of them. If you're out in the mission field, maybe it's not that. Maybe you're in some place where you're actually near a very sophisticated hospital, but a child needs surgery. Well, as long as it's ethical, tell the story, show the pictures, do the videos. That's how you're going to get people involved. Also, you should have a Facebook group. Offer them a Facebook group and tell them if you join our group, then we'll show you exclusive photos and videos. And the reason you want to do that is once they get into your group, then you can target them better. You can retarget them, and there's other advertising opportunities and sponsorship opportunities once they join you in a group. And you can put a donate button and you can sell things and so on. And you want to look at also whether the group is better for you or whether a Facebook page, whether or not it's a confidential kind of group. Maybe you want to have an open group that people apply to join. Maybe you want a closed group that you don't hardly let anybody in unless they pay. If they're donors, let's say, exclusive inner circle group. Or maybe you want a page, and with a page, gives you a lot more business options. And with a page, maybe that's something you want to do. So you want to look at those options. Also, you want to get into email sequence. You need to act real business-like. Listen, nobody cares what you do behind the scenes to raise the money. Like I say, as long as it's ethical. But you got to do what people are expecting. They're expecting email, right? So when you send them an email, it's not to beg, oh, please send money. It's I'd like to share a new story with you. And you can embed videos in your email also. And you want to start this email sequence going. You need software for that. I'm a big fan of Kartra, which is an all-in-one system. Insutanto is also like that. There's a few others out there. But Kartra has e-commerce, email tracking, webinar. Consider doing webinars. You should be doing a weekly video to update all your donors and to interest new people who might be interested in donating. So that's really important. And the last thing I want to get is that you really shouldn't be afraid to ask for money. But you don't want to ask for money. You don't want to say, please send me money like I mentioned before. You want to offer it to them as an opportunity. You want to offer them to share in the experience. And then you need to reward them on that. You can't say, would you please consider sharing $25 you can share and get Martha into school and her brothers and so on, and then that's the end of it. They're not going to feel like they're participating at all. So you want to keep up a constant flow of photos and stories and testimonials, videos with the school teachers. Now, don't exploit the children. A lot of people do this accidentally, where they come down, take a bunch of dirty kids. I mean, I don't know about every time I see somebody raising money for Africa, and Americans, we just call the whole thing Africa. But over there somewhere, I always see them with a small child sitting in the dirt with a fly on his face, or a couple of flies on his face. That's old, okay? I don't know if you're really exploiting. Maybe that happens all the time over there. It just seems like every photo I get is like that. So get a little creative. It's okay to show children playing. It's okay to show them smiling. It's okay to video a mother, if she will agree, to video her where she says, thank you so much for sending my kids to school. How about interviewing the teachers who would like to see more children in school, or the neighbors, or a child who's graduated? We have some children that we helped, and with donors helped to put these girls through school, and now one's a nurse, I believe, the other one's working in administration and a business, and another's a teacher. And these are kids who would have otherwise been relegated to working in the fields their whole life. And so these are great examples. You can do videos of these kids, and they'll be these young people now, and they'll be glad to say, yeah, it was a great experience. Thank you so much for participating. So remember, you don't need to beg. You shouldn't beg. In fact, don't beg, because this money is not for you. Don't ask for the money. This money's not for you. Invite them to share. Do these other tips I shared in the video, and you can Google online about all kinds of fundraising tips. There's conferences you can go to. But these tips alone, and we have 20 years experience in this will bring you success as you invite others to share in your experience. Thanks very much.